Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to do something a little, maybe not too different, but there's a 30-day film challenge going on, and I thought it would be fun to participate in this, and instead of tweeting about it like a lot of other people are, I thought it would be more fun to actually talk about it on video and do a new video each day leading up to the 30 days. So, considering the fact that there's not really a lot of things to talk about right now because we don't have no new movies for a while. I think Tenet is right now scheduled for July, and I think Mulan as well. And look, we still have all of June to go through. We're still at the end of May. So why not do this challenge just for the fun of it? And so it could be a lot of time. And there's some things here that I don't think I've ever mentioned before in any of my videos, and there's some things I probably have briefly, and I could go a little bit more in depth into some of these, not just make it a 1 second video, of course. I want to make it a video that's worthy of these 30 days. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the 30-day film challenge where I'm going to answer all of these questions. And day one says that it's asking me the first film you remember watching. So if you guys have different films, please comment below. I want to see all the different films that other people have seen throughout their history. This is a hard one because, we can only go so far back into our memories. But I do have a memory of the first movie I've seen, at least in theaters. I can't remember that far back. In theaters, I can remember the first movie I ever saw. Because I can pinpoint it to the year it came out in. But I'm going to give you some hints of some of the other earlier films that I remember seeing when I was a kid. One of them, the oldest film I remember seeing, but I know it could be the first, but I doubt it, is Masters of the Universe, which came out in 1987, August of 1987, to be a matter of fact. But I know I didn't see that one in theaters. I probably saw that one either on television when it was in syndication or on VHS when I begged my parents to rent it. I don't think it was... I know for sure I didn't see it in theaters. So if it came out on VHS, it would have eventually came out on VHS maybe in 1988, because usually movies would stay in theaters for 6 months. So if it came out in August, it would probably be like February or March of 1988 when it finally came out on VHS. Unless it bombed badly, which I believe it didn't do well in theaters. But it was a movie that I really enjoyed when I was a kid, and I remember rewatching that movie so much. Eventually, I did buy it on VHS when I started working part-time during the summers at my grandfather's factory. They would give me a little bit of money, and then I started seeing it grow a little bit, and eventually in the late 90s, I did buy it on VHS, and then I rebought it again on DVD. I have it still on DVD. I never upgraded to Blu-ray. I don't even know if it's out on Blu-ray, but I said DVD, it's good enough. I don't need to upgrade after that. It's a movie that I still enjoy, but it's not the first one. Another earlier film I remember is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 1990 film. I didn't see that one in theaters either, but I remember seeing it eventually on VHS. I had the VHS of that. My parents probably bought it for me and my brothers. And I remember being freaked out by the Shredder. So again, that movie came out in March of 1990. It probably came out later towards the end of the year, like in September or something. But that's not the first movie I know of, because a movie I know of came out around 1989. Now, there's two early 1989 movies that I know I've seen, one in theaters and one not in theaters. And the first one I'm going to rule out is Ghostbusters 2, which came out of June in 1989. I know I didn't see that one in the theaters. I seen that one later on when it was out on VHS or TV, I don't know. I just remember it on TV. Maybe my dad rented it, and I remember seeing it, and my brother got scared because he was way too young, and I maybe was at an okay age for it. 1989, I would have been 6 years old. So The first movie, here we go. This is the true answer now. The first movie I ever remember seeing in the theaters, at least, was The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid came out in November of 1989, and I remember my parents taking me and my brother. I don't remember if the younger brother came along with me, because there was me, the oldest, Kevin, the middle, and Simon is my youngest brother. He would have been 1 year old at the time. If I was 6 and he was 1. Yeah, I don't think a 1 year old, maybe, who knows. But my grandparents went to, and yes, The Little Mermaid was the first one I ever remember seeing in the movie theater. And then other movies eventually came in and stacked on as I got older. But The Little Mermaid is an interesting one because obviously it's still, to me, one of the better animated films from the Disney Renaissance era. I love the Disney Renaissance era, and obviously it begins with The Little Mermaid and ends with Tarzan, and then you get into an all-new era after that. Little Mermaid is obviously the one that kicked it off. If it wasn't for that movie, we probably wouldn't have gotten Beauty and the Beast or Aladdin or The Lion King, because if Little Mermaid had failed, they were planning on pulling the plug on Disney animation. That could have been the last one, but thankfully it did really well at the time, and we did get all those other movies that came afterwards. It was a movie that definitely a lot of girls liked. I remember there was a girl in my class when I was that age, believe it or not. It must have been when I turned 7 or something, that she was so obsessed with the movie, she wanted me to play the movie with her. She would play Ursula and Ariel, and I would play all the boy characters, including Prince Eric. And if you're wondering how the kiss thing happened, we just covered our mouths and had our hands touched. So that's the way kids can't kiss. But yes, that's how it happened, and so she was obviously very obsessed with the movie. I know my cousin was obsessed with the film as well. It's still one of her favorites to this day. She tried showing it to her daughter. Her daughter was very scared of it. So clearly it's a certain age that can handle that film. But yeah, it still holds up to this day. The music is great and all that. And there you go. That was the first movie I ever remember seeing, as far as I know, until somebody can confirm otherwise. But yes, that's it, guys. Comment below and tell me, what was the first movie you ever saw? What were your experiences with that movie? How much do you remember it being involved in your life? Obviously, The Little Mermaid is still one that I enjoy going back to, and I'm looking forward to the remake. Considering it was one of the first movies I ever saw in theaters, it would be weird for me not to go see the remake when it finally hits theaters, whenever it's supposed to. Who knows now with this whole pandemic going on. But with that being said, until next time, everybody, which will be tomorrow. Tomorrow will be day 2 of this challenge. We'll see what the topic will be tomorrow. I know what it is. Do you know? Maybe you do. Go and look for it, and until then, take care.